Welcome to our Cover Supervisor information session through ANZ UK. Firstly, to start, it is important to understand the difference between a teaching assistant and a cover supervisor. Teaching assistants work alongside the teacher. They're both inside and outside of the classroom, helping look after the children. They can be in a mainstream setting or within a special education needs or SEN unit. They tend to work with small groups as well as offering one-to-one learning support. As a cover supervisor, you'll be expected to essentially be the cover teacher. You can be unqualified for this position as well. You will be the sole responsible adult in the classroom, and it is your role to designate and supervise all of the work that is set out for you. You may have a TA with you in class as well. The types of cover supervisors that exist can be day-to-day or D2D cover supervision or long-term cover supervision. Day-to-day cover supervision covers going in and out of any school on any day. This often results in greater exposure to different schools or environments, as well as providing a flexible option for those with other commitments, for example, actors or dancers or those that work within other fields. It is a great way to have excellent exposure if you're interested in taking up a career in education and for trialling it, particularly if you're looking for secondary teaching. The other alternative is long-term cover supervision. This is where you work in the same school every day. You may be a generalist, which is where you cover every subject within the school, or you might be a specialist, which is where you're covering a specific subject. This may be maths, science, literacy. It depends on the school and what their needs are. This will include marking and planning. It does offer a consistent income, and it does allow you to build relationships with students and staff. It's also another great experience if you are interested in taking up a career in education. Both will provide you these opportunities. So why work as a cover supervisor? As I've mentioned, it is looking at having that teaching experience. It's also great for professional development. So having those long-term roles, it really does stand out on your resume if you are looking for a teaching role that you've had this long-term position. It's also great for behaviour management. It's really important that you have a really strong grasp on that and that you are consistent within the school too. Communication and time management skills, also incredibly important when you are a cover supervisor. So this will help you to build those and to make you a clearer communicator and with great time management. The pay is also fantastic, starting at £80 a day. There's also greater access to work opportunities for support staff workers, as it exposes you to many more schools, and also working with kids, which as we know is incredibly rewarding. So the role of a cover supervisor. You're effectively a supply teacher, but schools know that you aren't qualified and they will support you. The students aren't aware that you're not qualified, so they won't be aware that you aren't technically a teacher in that traditional sense. You're not expected to be an expert in all subjects as well, and that's something that's really important that we do try to encourage people to understand. The students will know that you are there to facilitate the learning, but you aren't expected to know everything within that subject. As mentioned before, it is facilitating a settled working environment that allows students to learn. This is an incredibly important feature for a cover supervisor, as your main aim is to ensure that those students have completed the work and are focusing throughout that period. You're not expected to teach, but you should impart as much knowledge and support as possible. For instance, you may have to come up with a couple of reasons as to why you're not sure. This is a really good example saying, responding to a student if they do have a question, saying, I'm not sure about that one, but why don't we work this out together? This empowers the student to take on control of their learning as well. Also, who else has finished here? Who else here has finished the question and can help? This can really assist students as well, as it also empowers those around them to feel quite important and being able to assist their peers as they are the ones that are studying the same topic at the same time. It's really important that you are aware of procedures and policies within the school, so you need to make sure you are familiar with the safeguarding and their policy and procedures. It's important as well that you take the register, or the roll as it is known in Australia, as well as understanding and following behaviour management plans. These can all be accessed on the school website, and you will be expected to read these when you do arrive at a school. If you are in a long-term position, these do become second nature, but if you are in a day-to-day position, it is important that you do read through these and that you are consistent with these, as it will assist with your day being nice and smooth. A day in the life of a cover supervisor. What to expect when you arrive. So we do ask that you arrive at 8:15 a.m. It's always good to get in nice and early, so it gives you the time to understand what is coming up and how you can plan your day. You'll meet with the contact and you'll receive the supply pack as well, which will be a booklet often with a map of the school and often with the key people that you'll need to know. So it's important that you do become familiar with that timetable that is provided in the supply pack as well as the school map. Important that you read the safeguarding and behaviour management policies, for example, like how to discipline and how to ensure that the children are working. And if you're unsure, just ask. So if you aren't provided any of these details when you do go to a school, please do ask the contact that you have been given the name of through us, and they will be able to assist. It's much better to ask at the start of the day and to be prepared than it is to sort of waddle your way through the day. Before class, we do ask that you aim to arrive about 5 to 10 minutes before the lessons are due to start. Obviously, if you've got a lesson that goes from period 1 into period 2 before the break, you can only go when the bell does go, but it is important to be as prompt as possible. So it is important to read through the school map to make sure you are familiar with where you need to be going next. Make sure you write your name on the whiteboard and the work instructions left for the lesson. Again, very clear expectations around the instructions. This is the time to be doing that. Greet the students at the door. Make sure you say hello, welcome them in, and make sure they know that they're in a comfortable and safe environment. Really important that you leave the classroom neat and tidy. That includes pushing the chairs in, putting away any paper that may have been left out, and making sure you wipe down the whiteboard as well. These are really important to make sure that you're leaving a good impression for the school too. It's also easier when you get a few of the students to help. So starting the lesson. As you take the register, it is important that you are recognising and going through different students' names correctly. So do let them know that, if you do pronounce it incorrectly, that you are wanting to get their assistance with that. It's important to do icebreakers as well. These can be optional and only used when necessary, but it's good to ask, who can guess where I'm from, or what have you been working on recently? This can kind of break the ice a little bit with the students and help them to understand who you are and a little bit about yourself to make it a bit easier through the behaviour management as well. Then you need to hand out the work, run through any of the work that is to be completed and ask if there's any questions, and ensure that you're staying at the front of the room until the class is settled. Find a responsible student in the class that can assist if needed. Often they're quite easy to find, as you will hear their name, or maybe they might be sitting nearer to the front, or they maybe just look like they're quite a studious student. So it's always good to be able to pick up on that as well. When you finish the lesson, make sure you provide the answers to the work. So keep a 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the lesson ready to go so that you can go through those moments. Also good to maybe ask some of those icebreaker questions at the end there too if you've got some spare time. Be sure to collect all the resources, push the chairs in and get the rubbish off the floor, and have students stand in silence behind their desk waiting for the bell to go. It's, again, really important to leave the classroom neat and tidy, and please do complete any feedback for the class teacher. Highlight the students that did not complete the work and also those that performed well. It's really important to provide all of this information so that the teacher can understand where you're up to and they can continue carrying on following that. Behaviour management. Super important and something that we really look to encourage you to take on professional development through us, through our webinars and other programs to help you feel more confident when you go into the classroom. So behaviour management, the key thing is to have a classroom presence. Project the confidence and positivity and students will respond. If you go in confidently and if you're happy, kids will really respond well to that and you will gain their respect quite clearly. Very important to have clear instructions. If students know what they need to do, they're more likely to focus and settle. If you're not sure of what the work that's laid out for the day, it is important to speak to the cover manager that helps you out for the day to ensure that you can do this because as stated, clear instructions really do help. Using disciplinary procedures, so follow through on what you've said, both positive and negative. If a student has done the wrong thing, it is important to say that if you are writing their name down, that you do write their name down, that you follow up with the suitable person following that. But likewise, if someone has done something really positive, it's important that you highlight that you encourage the others in the class to see that and to show that they're modeling excellent behavior. Also doing a name drop. Often you'll be able to find out who the assistant head or head of department, classroom teacher or cover manager is. And it's important that you can mention that person. So saying that, for instance, if there is a student that is mucking around a little bit, you can say to them, look, I am going to have to speak to Mr. Smith in regards to this. So please just keep that in mind. I don't want to have to do that. But, if you continue this behavior, I'm going to have a chat with him. Students that are doing the right thing, again, it's the positive reinforcement. We want to make sure that they know that they're doing the right thing. Common concerns. Students won't listen or respect me. This is a really popular one and one that we want you to feel comfortable with going in, that this won't be sort of a situation for you. So They will if you project confidence and are positive from the start of their learning. And also, it is good to just be able to keep a list of those that aren't working well, so you can report that back if you do find that students aren't listening to you or maybe respecting you in the way that you would like. I won't know anything about what the students are learning. Again, you're not expected to know this. You can acknowledge it at the start of the lesson and explain that to the class. This is not my area of expertise, but why don't we work it out together? Or who in the class can actually assist? Be the facilitator of the learning. Provide that learning environment free from distractions. That is your key purpose. You don't need to worry about being the expert, but just make sure that it's a good and safe environment for the students to be learning in. I won't be able to control the students if they misbehave. Even experienced teachers can struggle with this at times, so don't be so hard on yourself if that is the case. Stay calm, ask for help, use your disciplinary procedures, and document anything that you think is necessary too. Also, you can ask a responsible student to get another teacher for support, or use a system that's in place. Often schools will have walkie-talkies where you can report through to someone who can come to your class immediately if there is a situation that you feel is getting out of control and you want to make sure that the children are behaving again. Safeguarding. This is incredibly important across all aspects of teaching, particularly in cover supervision, as you are the sole responsible adult within the classroom. It is absolutely imperative that you create a safe environment for every child. Be aware of any signs of abuse and neglect. Keep notes factual and objective. If you think that you've come across something that needs to be reported, it's incredibly important that you do stick to keeping factual and objective when taking those notes. Take all suspicions and allegations of abuse seriously. It is not your position to judge, it is your position to report. So please make sure that you do that. If there is challenging, defiant, or withdrawn behaviours, these can be signs of abuse. Children do choose to disclose to strangers, so you may be the person that they like to disclose to. Please make sure that you do report that. Avoid being alone with a child. This is a non-negotiable. It is imperative that you are outside with the children and that you are with at least other children or other staff if you are speaking to a child. Avoid touching children unnecessarily. This shouldn't happen at all within a secondary setting. Often in primary, you may have students that are more touchy, but be aware that this is something that shouldn't be followed through. Also, keep your DBS updated. Don't take any photos of children and don't post about your day on social media. It is your work and it is your job to go in and have a fantastic day, but you don't need to be reporting about it. So please make sure that you keep any concerns that you have, if you are working through us, to come through and speak to your consultant to make sure that they are aware of any of the concerns. It is important that you do speak to the safeguarding officer within the school or the designated safeguarding lead, and they will be able to assist you. And we do ask that you contact us as well if there is anything that has been of concern for the day. Expectations. Again, you need to have professional appearance, so making sure that you're dressing smart. And making sure that you're dressing as if you're a teacher. It's quite simple. There's a lot of easy things that you can kind of put in place there. Gentlemen, always make sure you have a tie, and women, make sure that you are wearing sensible closed-toe shoes. Always arriving early. It's definitely for your own benefit to make you feel more at ease for the day. Be reliable and proactive. Ask if there's anything extra you can do to assist. See if there's any additional classes that you can go in and cover if you're not covering for that period. This will really set you up for being asked to come back, which is always great. Be adaptable and have a can-do attitude. Again, really straightforward, but definitely going ahead and going with that. And also showing your initiative. Be consistent with behaviour management and avoid double standards. If you're saying one thing to one child, you need to make sure you're following through on all the children. And if you have a good day, take the time to speak to the cover manager to let them know. They are the ones that will be asking and calling us for further bookings. So if you have a great day, definitely let them know. Often people can end up securing themselves a full-time position for a whole period as a result of taking the time to go and say thank you to the cover manager. Things not to do. Don't raise your voice to control the class. It will not help. It starts to be a sign of you actually losing control. So ensure that you are keeping calm and measured when you are asking them to behave. Do not let the students bring you down to their level. So don't swear, don't talk back. Again, just be consistent. Do not wear inappropriate clothing or jewelry. It's important to just maintain a professional standard at all times. And again, not posting about happenings on social media. Keep that off site. Also, no smoking, and please do not have your phone out. It should be in your bag at all times. If you have your phone out within a classroom setting, it is often asking for a safeguarding report to be made against you, and we do not want that because you don't want to be putting yourself in a bit of an awkward situation by doing that. You won't need your phone because you will be teaching the class, so you need to make sure your focus is on the students and their safety at all times. So the important things to take away here is that even though you're not a qualified teacher or a subject specialist, you can still have a positive impact. The key ways that you can have a positive impact are by maintaining a calm working environment, providing clear instructions for students, helping out in any way you can by being proactive and using your initiative, following through on positive and negative behaviour, projecting confidence and positivity, and also leaving feedback for the teacher. We hope that you have a wonderful time on your time out there, and please do get in touch later for more information.